imagine there's no heaven. It isn't hard to do. And know the spell between us, just brotherhood of man. Yeah, imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and Nigeria will live as one. Thank you very much.
Artist Soul, thank you so much. Now is the time. All our participants, all our beneficiaries are all up the stage. And would like to invite His Excellency, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, Acting President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his remarks. He is being supported by everyone who has benefited.
Thank you very much. Please sit. Distinguished and honorable members of the National Assembly here present, especially the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Godswill Akpabio, members of the Federal Executive Council, the National Chairman of our great party, Chief John Odige Oyegun, and other party chieftains present, senior government functionaries, Your Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, beneficiaries of the National Social Investment Program, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. This social investment program is both a heart and a head program. Heart because the pains of poverty are so deep and so stark that it's very difficult to ignore. The President, during the campaigns, while we were touring the different states, going from village to village, kept saying that we must do something about poverty. Just looking at the conditions that people lived in, looking at how people had to struggle so hard to eke out a living. He just kept repeating this everywhere we went, that there just has to be some way of ensuring that this ends and that we can put people on a path of being able to do something for themselves and getting out of poverty. The program is also a head or a logical common sense issue. A country's economic development is a function of the number of those who are able to live above poverty level. And our levels of poverty are so alarming that clearly some fundamental interventions by government must be necessary. Often our economic development plans and budgets assume a trickle-down approach, namely that if we put resources in promoting industry and commerce, jobs would eventually be created and the poorest will be reached somehow at the end of that food chain. The other premise is that GDP growth would somehow translate to jobs. But both premises are flawed. First, the trickle-down model has proved far too slow to stem the tide of poverty in one of the fastest growing populations in the world. Secondly, most of the growth that we saw, especially in the past few years, was on account of the high oil prices. And of course, the oil sector itself simply doesn't attract that many jobs. It is capital intensive, but it is not labor intensive. So while we were recording growth in excess of 6% yearly, because of the high oil prices, unemployment figures continue to grow. So in developing the APC manifesto and later our economic development plans, we knew that government had to directly intervene with a massive social investment program that will tackle poverty and exclusion across the various spectrums of our society. We have heard a lot about the programs already, but I would like to emphasize some of what I'm particularly proud of. The first is that we have shown that a massive program can be initiated and managed online. The Empower program is the largest post-tertiary jobs program in Africa. We now know that we can train large numbers of people electronically. Secondly, we have demonstrated that a transparent process of employment is possible. All of these young men and women who have testified that they knew nobody, paid nobody to get the jobs they now have shown us that it is entirely possible to run a program that is transparent, and that we don't have to do things that suggest that the only way by which people can advance is by knowing someone. Thirdly, we have achieved great success in our financial inclusion efforts by bringing many people, the extremely poor in the hinterlands, into the formal banking system. Beneficiaries of our conditional cash transfer program, the homegrown school feeding program, vendors and cooks now have BVNs and bank accounts. We've also demonstrated that electronic payment on such a huge scale across the nation practically